Hello again. Here we have young superstar player Rickie Fowler from the US. Rickie is only 24 years of age, already has one win on the PGA Tour as well as one other on the Asian Tour. Rickie is not a very big guy, 5'9", 175 centimeters, only 150 pounds, but certainly for a young guy he can hit the ball a pretty long distance, a lot of club head speed. And the thing I like about Rickie Fowler's golf swing is it's not a robotic swing. It's a swing that's kind of unique to himself. We're starting to see a trend recently for a lot of the young players have got unusual techniques, perhaps not ones you'd see commonly taught. Rickie's good friend Bubba Watson is another player comes to mind with an unusual technique. Rickie certainly has a great golf swing, one that creates a lot of speed and power, but has a few things in there that are not so common, and more evidence that anything can work as long as you spend enough time practicing and get that club head back on the ball every time. When we look at Rickie's setup here with the driver, I would say this camera angle on the left is a little bit forward, meaning it's going to make the ball position look like it's a little bit in the center of his stance. I would suggest that that's not the case. The ball position is more forward than that. The down the line view looks pretty well positioned. You see his posture is a little upright. His spine angle is up here, and that's really due to the fact that his hands are set quite low, so that's kind of matches up quite nicely. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the initial takeaway from the FaceTime view. What you'll notice here is all the good players seem to do, the chest, the shoulders, the arms and the club all move back beautifully together. There's no early hinging of the wrist typically. Lovely one piece takeaway, setting that club into a great position there when the club shaft is parallel to the ground, and also in a nice wide position at this stage. Looking from the down the line view, the same move, you'll notice that his hands tend to move in quite close to his legs in the backswing. Therefore the club head gets pretty up and in front of the hands. Club face is nicely square here. But an interesting left arm position, and certainly nice and connected across his body, but it's more inside of the toe line than some players would like to be. As we get Rickie's golf swing back to the next stage, which is left arm parallel with the ground, you'll notice that there's already a very obvious setting or hinging of the left wrist up into the roughly a 90-degree angle. So he sets the left wrist relatively early. Notice here from the down the line view that his hands are quite deep in behind his body. I prefer to see, for my students and in my own golf swing, my hands would be more sort of in the middle of the chest at this stage. The left arm is sort of more over the toe line. So Rickie's left arm is more across his chest, and the hands are in more deep behind his body at this stage. Getting up towards the top of the golf swing, not quite got there yet, but getting close. Very athletic lower body. Look at the width that's been maintained between the knees here. That's very important. Okay, so a nice strong lower body. This is going to reduce the amount that the hips and shoulders will be able to turn, so creating lots of power through a resistant body, as opposed to trying to create a very long turn and a long arm swing, which many amateurs suffer from. Now as we get Rickie towards the top of his backswing, you'll notice here that the left arm runs basically parallel to his shoulders, if not a little bit lower than that. The right arm is also quite low. The right elbow is quite low. And this is not so uncommon. A lot of players are working on making their backswings flatter, trying to get the left arm more parallel to the shoulder line. Matt Kuchar comes to mind. There's been a number of players who have worked on that, trying to get the left arm a little flatter, but I would say this is a relatively flat position. The hands are pretty far out behind his right shoulder, so Commonly you'll see players get their hands more up in the backswing. Very, very common to see players have their hands finish sort of on this blue line, which is sort of the original shoulder plane line at address, so he's a little lower than that. You also notice that Rickie's right leg doesn't have a lot of flex at this point. Certainly not straight, but it's straightened out quite a bit during his golf swing. Now, one of the most amazing things about this golf swing of Rickie Fowler is what you're about to see here now. The transition from the backswing into the downswing has got an amazing lower body move. You see the lower body rotating and moving back towards the target, and the backswing with the arms and the club hasn't yet finished. So this movement right here, now this is a classic separation of the pelvis versus the upper body. The chest here and shoulders are not unwinding, but the lower body is. Now this puts a lot of stress on your body. You've got to be very strong and flexible and have terrific mobility in your body to be able to do that, but that really is one of the secrets to success. Being able to unwind the lower body and move into the left side just before the backswing is actually finished, and delaying the turn of the shoulders and the chest. So many golfers get this wrong. They start their downswing with the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and then the lower body kind of trails along behind. So this is a fantastic move that Rickie's developed here, and really one of the reasons why he's such a long hitter for such a relatively small guy. You'll see the evidence here of a huge lag between the lead left arm and the shaft, and that's really because the club's kind of left behind for a moment and the body starts to drive forward and unwind, and the club is lagging down. That's how you create lag in the golf swing. You've got to start this transition into the downswing from the ground up. The lower body has to lead the upper body, followed by the arms and the club. Now look at that same move from the down the line view. You'll see as Rickie transitions, you actually can see the club head through his arms there, the gap in his arms. He's still swinging back, but the body is starting to unwind and get back towards the target. Okay. Club shaft here really is very low, and it's in underneath the right arm. The club shaft will swing into the golf ball basically straight down the club head, at least down that blue line. His hands are much higher than where they were at address. Remember, his hands were quite low at the start. They were down here. Now they've moved up quite significantly, which is not too uncommon. You see that the arms have really kind of come out and away from his body, so a lot more distance in between Rickie's body and his arms than what he had at address. Down face on view as he's approaching the golf ball, you see how much more forward his left hip is. You can see how the club shaft is trailing behind the arms into impact. Both arms relatively straight, or straighten in at impact. The right arm straightens just a fraction after impact, and the arms really kind of fly out towards the target, so you're not following down the ball line, but really extend out away from his body. The head lowers down towards the ground, tremendous width through the ball, and the momentum of the club pulls him up and through into his left side. So, I mean, this is a golf swing I really like. One that, for such a relatively small guy, creates a lot of speed and power. This is Rickie's a player who will go on to have, I'm sure, a very successful career, and he's got a golf swing kind of all to his own. Works for him. Perhaps not one that you'd see every day, but I like this swing. I like seeing golfers make their own swing work just through hard work and talent. But what Rickie does very well is that transition from backswing to downswing and get that lower body leading forward. You can learn a lot from watching that. Okay, thank you.